Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of City Skylines. Today we are going to be talking about transit-oriented development, but first let's dive into a few quick changes that I did off camera. So the first thing I did, and this is actually kind of funny, I ended up removing that monument that we had placed in the last one with the DLC, and it is because it acts like the Hadron Collider. And so this right here, the Monument of Colossal Heroes, acts as the Hadron Collider, which gives you basically free education. And so it's a nice thing to have. I kind of view it as a cheat. I was going back and forth because I really didn't know what was our, elementary, high school, and university eligibility had dropped all the way down. You can still see these are like really low. And it's because everybody basically becomes educated. We had like a 90% highly educated status, and it is really nice. I don't know if it was intentional for them to have that, but I did delete it because I do still like to place down schools and stuff like that, and I don't like the effect that has on the city. So now we do have uneducated people. As a result of me trying to fix that, I did install one more mod. It is the Life Cycle Rebalance mod, because initially I was like, man, maybe that's some sort of issue with people coming into the city or something. And since I didn't have the Hadron Collider, I was like, man, there's no way that's it. And then the way that I had found it was because I actually play on a separate account for this city so that I can kind of separate my mods. And I noticed that I got the Hadron Collider card. And I was like, wait, I haven't placed that in this account yet. And so I was like, I wonder if that unique building doesn't. So sure enough, right when I deleted it, we started to have our education pop up again. So like this has already ballooned up to 3,000, which is fantastic. And so this should level out. I am still kind of frustrated with this whole airport area. We are still having a lot of issues with our ore. I don't know what's going on with this. I'm tempted to install a couple mods that would potentially fix this, like the transfer manager mod, and potentially more network stuff so that I could draw on some more airplane lines. But I think this is just a bug within the airport's DLC where for some reason we're just getting airplane stand planes. So these are airplanes that are owned by the stand that are being sent out, and whenever they come back, they're not bringing deliveries. And so we're really not getting any deliveries from this airport area at all. And what's happening is these facilities are putting out calls to the airport area, but nothing's coming in for them. And so if anybody's got a fix, or if you've had this issue with your city as well, go ahead and let me know. I've definitely been struggling with this for quite a while now, and it is very frustrating. This has not happened in any of my mod cities. And so, all right, and so now let's go ahead and jump right in. So we are going to be focusing on this area, and we have a slew of new transport hubs and stations and everything from all the new DLCs that we got. And so I really want to touch base on what transit-oriented development is versus highway-oriented development, which is a common theme in the United States. So basically the idea of highway-oriented development is that whenever you have an exit like this, you'll end up having commerce and stuff sprout up around it because people are going to be getting off the freeway. You're going to have little gas stations, maybe even a grocery store, maybe some shopping or stuff like that. And it does work a lot. It's not always the case, though, especially when you're considering suburbia. The thing with transit-oriented development is, first off, you're getting people out of their cars, which even in real life, the more we can get people to stop utilizing cars, the better the world will be ideally. And how are we going to do that? Well, we try to create more walkable cities, and we try to create better transit systems. In the United States, this is really a challenge because the cost of labor and the cost of materials are so much higher than in other countries because of unions and stuff like that. Like I was just reading an article on New York City Metro versus the Madrid Metro, and Madrid was able to lay down miles and miles and miles of new stations and tracks for like a fifth of the cost of them being able to do just 10 miles in New York City. And in New York City, they've been trying to do the Park Avenue expansion for many years, and Madrid has just been expanding at such a faster rate. And it has a lot to do with those unions and just the cost of labor out here and a lot of the politics and everything. And so it is kind of sad, but ultimately it's just something that, we have to deal with here. What we're going to be trying to focus on today is, all things separate, what we could create if we were able to just do what we thought was best for the city. I want to create a downtown right here. And what I'm thinking is we are going to expand out a few roads, and we are going to have kind of stroads. I mean, we already have quite a few of them throughout the city. What I really want to focus on though is a few really big stations so that we can get as many people as possible to utilize public transport. We are on kind of a hill right here. Initially, I was planning to do more of a radial style grid to deal with the hill, but it's really not huge. And so I was like, you know what, this radial plan just doesn't work as well. And then looking at the hills, like, you know, it's not going to be something that we need to really worry about. So we're going to go ahead and go like this, and then we're going to come this way, and then we're going to go ahead and connect it up with this connection. And then let's bring this down now, and we want this to kind of follow along the highway. I want to connect this up. Let's go ahead and bring this right next to the highway, and then we are going to go into the freeform tool, and we're going to come all the way down and connect this up. And so the key with this is we are trying to add developments around transit stops, transit stations. And so what we're going to be doing is, after we're done with this, we're going to be laying out our stations. And this is really how you can design your cities in a much better fashion, thinking about your stations before you need them. Because a lot of times, and I know I do it too, you end up building out a neighborhood and you start to have traffic and you're like, man, maybe transit will fix this. And so you start putting in bus lines or trams and you start upgrading stuff, and it does fix it. It works a little bit better if you design the area around your transit stop. And that's really what this is all about. So we're going to do a big transit stop here in the middle, and then what we're going to have is we're going to do a downtown around it, and we're going to be using the modern city center assets since we haven't really utilized them. And I think they're really fun assets. I do wish that there was some residential with them, but what can you do? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this out now. Let's go out 2, and we're going to have to make sure that this is level because it already looks like we're a little off. So we are going to grab a 2-unit road, and we want to come out 2, and we want to come out 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to come out 2, we're going to come out 2, and it does look like we're going to have to trim these back just a little bit more. We're going to go like this. And this is kind of a similar design to what we did in Crater Lake, where I developed the mass transit hub in the middle of the city. I really don't want this to be an exact replica of it, but it's kind of following the same idea. We're going to have this be our main hub. We're probably going to do a park. We're going to have some transit stops in here. I think we're going to do one of the bigger ones, potentially even an end of line. An end of line would be kind of fun, though. This looks like it may not be enough space, but we'll kind of see. Maybe we'll trim this back a little bit because I think that could actually be fun. So if we have this big end of line over here, but because it's underground, it doesn't seem to work as well. And I've kind of gone back and forth on it a few times. And it's just because this hill and how long the underground tunnel is, the pathing just doesn't read as well. Again, you know, similar to the airport's issue, something's wrong with the pathing. And so what I would really like to get is I was thinking the glass roof one. Yeah, this one right here. If we could get this in here and then have it just, you know, hustle and bustle like a live, you know, end of line one, then it really helps to create a really fun kind of atmosphere with people moving around and stuff like that. I really like that look whenever you have just a ton of people moving around and just really busy. I think it looks really fun. So we're going to go ahead and go like this. And then let's have this cross. And we are going to do the end of line right here, potentially even further back, because what we need to do is, yeah, so we're going to bring this back a little bit further, and maybe we'll draw this in after we're done with this, because we're going to have to leave quite a bit of room for this. You really got to be careful with trains. So we're now going to bring this out, and what I'm thinking is we're going to have this one be the end. So we'll probably go, let's actually just bring this all the way out. You really got to be careful with these for trains blocking the ways, blocking the access points. It's probably one of the trickiest parts with doing end of line train stations is just all the traffic. Because what'll happen is you'll have trains that will just queue up and then they'll block these other stations. And so you really got to keep an eye on it. So we're going to go ahead and bring this back, and then let's go ahead and start to curve it so that we can be more at a 90 with this. We'll go like this. And then what we need to do is create a junction. So we're going to go ahead and turn off snapping, and we can actually turn down the speed. We don't need to be on 3 speed. So I'm going to start right here, just a little bit to the right of that track, and then I'm going to turn it this way and then have it dump in. And then I'm going to go ahead and come over here and do the same thing. So I'm going to start it there, have it turn this way, and then dump in. And then that way what we can do is we can connect it up with this line kind of in the center. There we go. So I think that looks pretty good. And it creates a little bit of a bypass too. Because what will happen with trains is they typically will have little bypass functions. So you'll have like a little lane right here that goes all the way down and then goes right here. And it's so that trains can pass each other, especially on single rail lines. Because it's a double rail line, you don't really have to worry about it as much, but it is still something that we want to try to be mindful of. So we've definitely created a pretty large low area. We'll probably do some trees in here and stuff. And then we've left a little room in here. So we have a metro line right there. We have a train. I know we're going to do trams in here. And I was even kind of playing with the notion of maybe doing monorail. We could get a monorail in here. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, the city's so heavily invested in metro. and it's literally laid down probably, billions of dollars in metro lines above ground and below ground. So if we go underground, we have all these underground lines. Would the city, who already has all this experience in building metro, then transition to going to monorail, which could potentially be more proprietary? Their technicians have less experience working with them. And that's really what I was kind of thinking about is, how realistic would that be? And I honestly don't think that they would. Even though, monorail would be really cool to have, and all these, awesome hubs are all monorail, I think that it's not going to work out. So what I was thinking is potentially on our next city, we would do maybe monorail instead of metro, like just do a monorail, which could be really cool. I mean, I think it could be interesting. And so now let's come up over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab our little tram metro hub. I want something with bicycle lanes. I don't think it's going to match up though. No, it's not. It's not the end of the world. It definitely goes a little bit wider. If we were to switch to a 6-lane, it would put it on this side and have it duck in. And I think this is a little bit safer because then at least traffic doesn't have to cross over. And so I do like that though. And then now we have an underground metro line, which is even better. And so we are going to grab our metro. We really want to look at our lines now. So we have this big line coming up over here. Be really smart if we could somehow get this one connected up over here, potentially going straight. I think because we have so much of this going on, it's going to be kind of tough. If I was playing with mods, I would just do the metro over road mods, but I don't think that we got any of those with this pack. I think we got more monorails, but we didn't get any metro. So I think those were the 2 new monorail tracks. Yeah, here's some new monorail. Kind of wish they would have added in some metro over road, because that's something that in Crater Lake we did. We have some metro over road tracks in that city. Yeah, so we're gonna have an issue here. So maybe if I go like right there. So what we're gonna do, we're probably gonna switch directions, and I'm thinking we'll probably cut up this way, cut through the little park area, and then we will come all the way up here, turn right. And then that way we could probably even get a little stop up here. And then because our industrial demand's a little bit higher, we can build a small little industrial hub, maybe even do a trash facility, and then have this kind of duck down and then connect up over here. So then we can do another little stop in here, which could be good. Okay, so I got that line in, and I decided to make this a little bit further away from the road on this side, just so that we could, again, maybe put in a station right here, potentially even put a station right here. And so now let's look at that underground line. So I know we have another platform over here. We have this coming all the way down, going down here. What I was thinking is we could maybe do an extension of this line, have it come down here, and then have this turn come down here. We could possibly even do a station right there, and then have it connect up over here. The thing that we really want to try and eliminate is creating double lines. So we have a line going right here, coming all the way up, going right there. So even potentially doing this line to right there is a double line. It's more of a direct route. But would the city pay to basically create 2 end-to-end stops? I really don't know. And so what I'm thinking is we'll extend this one first, and we'll come all the way down. We'll probably follow this road. So now we've created a line from this hub all the way down here, all the way down here, and then created a stop down here near this other hub as well. So that one is already connected up over here, but we've basically taken the 2 neighborhoods and we've split them. Because this above ground line is connected over here, I don't think connecting this one up is the best option. I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, you know what? It just would be such a large amount of money for the city to bore through here. And since there already is another stop going in that general from hub to hub, I don't think that it would be worth it. We do need to get some stops in that first one though. So we'll grab this, connect it up right there. And so now we have pretty much our whole city connected up. So we have this underground line that basically bleeds through our whole city, comes over to the airport, comes up through here, connects, and then does eventually connect up with this hub up here. And so now we have connected this up in the general vicinity of that. They could do an easy transfer over to the airport. It would require a little bit of a walk, but nothing too crazy. Again, though, if somebody needed to go, they could come up here and then transfer and then go down to the airport. I would like to think that people would do that. It's definitely would be a pretty large trip. So now the only thing left we have to do over here is a bus hub. Because this is going to be a large downtown, I really want to get an inner city bus station. And so what I was thinking is getting one. We want it to be centralized. We're kind of, following a mirrored pattern here. Go like this, and then let's see if we can fit this one. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Right in the middle. We are definitely on a hill. Let's see if we can level it out a little bit. And there we are. And I actually kind of like the little rocks that we're getting over here. I think it's a nice touch rather than just having it all kind of on a slant. I think that's a much better fit. And so now we have an underground metro to be able to fill in the grid over here. And so because we are going for a more walkable neighborhood, we are actually going to be using some tight grids with, I want to have a couple little varying roads going through. And that's one of the things with the modern city center is because it's a wall to wall, in order to get it to really look good, you definitely want it to be grids. And so now all we need to do is place down our services. We need to expand out our metro. We want to make sure that this whole area has even coverage between the underground metro and the above ground metro. And I think it's going to really help to create a fun aesthetic in here as well. I do also think that we're going to add in just a couple roundabouts in here. And so I did want to get them to be on even spacing on either side. And so what I was thinking is we could kind of measure this out, maybe go 4 out, or we could even go 5 out, maybe this one right here. So if we grab this, let's go out 1, and then let's go ahead and copy that on this side as well. Let's go out like that. It looks like we're a little bit farther on this side, but I still think it's going to be even with the middle, which is good. So now let's go ahead and get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. It looks like we were just one more. So if we go like this and then get rid of this, what I'm thinking is we will go ahead and bring in a road. Let's grab a gravel road so that we can just kind of use it as a tester road. We want to kind of measure this across just so that we can find out where the middle is. So we're about 3 units. So if we go right here and then go out 1, go down 1, and then let's go ahead and delete it on this side and do another one, and voila. And so now we can go ahead and hook up these other roads. Go like this, and then I think we will have these top 2 roads kind of curve in. I think that could be good. So if we grab this, let's go like right there, and then let's go ahead and copy that on this side. We'll go like that. And so we do need to do some one-ways as well. I think we're going to use these 3-lane one-ways. And so the reason why I wanted to do this, it's not just pure aesthetics. It also helps to kind of lower the speed on these roads. Because this was such a large arterial kind of leading to our transit hub, it really lends to high speeds on this. So by having this roundabout in the middle, what you're doing is you're forcing people to kind of slow down, which is really nice. All right, so now that we have that, what I was thinking is we could upgrade these to one-ways and then actually take the corresponding roads and turn them into one-ways as well. This is something that they do in downtowns quite a bit to help funnel traffic. I know I've talked about it before in the past, but it really goes a long ways to help split up the traffic a bit. And so let's go ahead and go like this. We're going to do the same thing, have this go all the way up. And we could even turn this into like a little promenade in the middle or something like that, something fun. And so we'll just upgrade these all the way down for all 4 directions now. Okay, now that we have that, let's go ahead and figure out our transit stops. So if we go ahead and jump into Metro, we're going to do the above ground first. So I'm thinking we'll have this curve up and then maybe turn this direction. We could possibly even have it turn both directions. So we could see where this kind of loops around and then connects up down here. I was thinking we could have this come up here and then end right there. Possibly even go up here as well, and then have this one kind of curve and go up here. I think that could be good. And then what we'll do is let's go ahead and place down a station. We're going to use this elevated metro with shops. So we'll go ahead and place that right there. And then let's bring this all the way down. And then we need to have this curve in. So we'll grab that freeform tool. We'll come all the way around now. And this is where it gets kind of tricky with these corners. A lot of times you just have to play around with them until you can get it just right. A lot of times it just involves going a little bit shorter like that. Kind of see, I mean, it's not the greatest curve. I'm going to see if I can just play around with this. You can still see it's not perfect, but it is a little bit better of a curve. And now let's go ahead and bring this across. So we are going to bring this straight, and it does look like we're a little bit off. So I'm thinking if we curve this way and then have it come up here, and then we are going to curve it up. I'm thinking down this row right here. And so let's go ahead and do a couple more of these shops. We'll do one right there, and then let's come up here and do one right here as well. And then we can curve this in. Let's go ahead and bring that one section back just so that we can get a little bit better of a curve out of that. So if we go right there, perfect. And then that way we can actually provide some access down here as well up here, which I think is fantastic. And so now we have provided much needed access, and there'll be tram stops kind of connecting those as well. So we have a stop up here. Let's go ahead and go underground and see where we're working at. So I would like to get our underground to connect up with one of these so that there would be a decent transfer opportunity. So if we were to bring this out and have it turn both directions, Maybe if we just go straight, yeah, we'll go like right there. And then this is going to provide us an opportunity to be able to actually have this kind of cut the other direction as well. So if we come up this way, and then let's do a standard stop in here. So we'll have this go like right there. And this is going to be a pretty, I mean, there's a lot of stops in here, but our goal is to get as many people in this area to utilize the public transport as possible. So now we're kind of close to this. People would be able to kind of walk up here and then transfer over to the transit hub if they wanted to. What I would like to do is something similar over here. So we have already provided quite a bit of access. We have a stop up here, stop down there, 3 stops right here. And then we have the big stops right here. We don't really have anything in here. I'm not too worried though, because as we start getting into the trams, it should be able to cover most of those other spaces. So now let's start looking for a 4-unit tram road with bike lanes. And so we know that the tram comes off of here and we need it to go. Let's actually utilize a smaller tram road. So let's go down here. 2-lane road with medium tram tracks and bicycle lanes. I think that's fantastic because that's actually going to help kind of curb the speed as well. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and bring this up, and I want it to envelope around. I want it to connect up with these other stations so that we can provide service. So what I'm thinking is we'll bring this down, curve it this way, and then connect up down here, and then we'll bring this down, have it loop all the way around connecting the stations, and then I'm just going to mirror that on this side. Okay, so I had trams go all the way around. We need to connect up this one too, so we'll go like that. Provide a little bit of access down there, which I think is perfect. So now we have a couple lines that we can do. I think we'll come up here and have this whole loop kind of do one, and then we'll have this do one as well. And so what I would like to do is also add in a little bit of access in this back section. So what I'm utilizing is a tram only road, and we're going to have this cut all the way through this section. And I think we're actually going to have it copy on that other side, just because this is going to really help us to create a nice urban look in there. And so we are now going to upgrade this, and let's go back to that tram only road, and we are going to have this cut down. We'll have it go right here and then come all the way down. Let's go ahead and go right there, and then let's actually bring that back. We don't need to go all the way down. And so this is going to allow us to do stops on the tram only road. These trams will not be subject to traffic or lights or anything like that, except for when they're crossing over, but you would give priority to the tram. So as the tram was coming down, these lights would turn red for the car so that the tram wouldn't have to stop, which is really cool. So now we've got a lot going on here. Let's go ahead and get our lines in, and then we'll start playing around with what we're going to do. I think we're going to have to get some trams in here too. So if we bring this back, let's go ahead and upgrade this road over here as well. All right, so the idea is to probably have multiple lines. So we'll have a line come up here and do this loop, then we'll have a line do this loop, and then we will have a line do this back loop. And so we'll have 3 lines on either side, and then we will have 1 line that just loops around this middle section. And so I'm going to get all that done, and then I think I'm going to throw in the metro lines as well, and then we'll be able to start placing services and buildings and stuff like that. Okay, so I got all the transit lines down. I have metros going underground. I just did 1 line from here to there, all the way over here, rather than just stretching one of the lines that was already there. I felt like that would just be a little bit better. I did end up stretching this line though, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't do this one, because the white one does loop all the way around over here. So now people down here have access over here as well as over here, which I think is really good. And then for trams, I ended up having a little bit of, I ended up running out of space. So I put in a couple more little tram stops in here so that we could get adequate coverage. So I have lines going both directions, here and here, here and here, 2 going this way, 1 going this way since it's so small, and then 2 going around this way. And the way that I did the tram only road was on one of the directions I had to take that, and then on the other I had to take the line with the metro stop. And I felt like that was going to be like a good middle ground for those. So now we need to put in our services, and what I want to do is probably get rid of some of these squares, really give it some more character, and start plopping down some of these bigger assets again, like the high capacity hospital, stuff like that. It actually looks like this one probably will fit. So maybe we'll place that there, and then let's see if we can get a couple parking lots right next to it. Yeah, I think this could be good. That one's a little too big too, so we're going to go ahead and place a couple of these. We'll go on the opposite side as well. We'll go like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It is a little on a hill. I wonder if we could shift these over just a bit. So I'm going to delete these and replace them, and then we can come in here and just do a couple little trees. We don't need to do anything crazy, but we do want to just make it look a little more official, like it's kept. Yeah, I think that looks good. I actually like that it fit that spot really well. It looks good there. And so now let's place down our high capacity fire station, and we could do, so it looks like we have a little bit of fire coverage coming that way. I'm thinking maybe up here would probably be a better fit. So what if we put it like right here? Let's go ahead and go right there, and then let's do just a couple small parking spaces as well. Maybe we'll do them right here. I think that looks pretty good. And then let's do the high capacity police station as well. Let's go ahead and place that right here. And then let's do the same thing, a couple little parking spaces, and we will grab some trees and just kind of fill it in again. Make it look a little more official, like it's actually landscaped rather than having these kind of raggedy edges and just open grass around it. And then I think we'll actually end up putting in just a small bit of office space in this little corner, just because that metro stops right there. I think that would be a good fit. And so now we have pretty decent coverage. Let's go ahead and check out our medical again, because I feel like up here is going to be kind of lacking. So it's actually not bad. I'm thinking though, maybe if we put in just a small clinic, yeah, if we go like this, because then it'll provide just that better coverage. Same with over here. Let's go ahead and do a small little fire department over there. Let's do a small police station right next to it, just so that we can get even coverage. We really want to provide as much coverage as we can. Now that we've gotten rid of the Hadron Collider, our elementary or schooling budget has just plummeted, and as we already have it raised, we have a huge influx of people going to school now, and this is kind of creating a problem for us. We have 346 out of 351. Let's go ahead and place a couple more of these. So let's go ahead and do a high capacity elementary and a high capacity high school. So let's look at our coverage. So it looks like we definitely may need to get at least 2 of these in. So if we go like right here, I'm thinking maybe even a big schooling complex like what we did before. I actually really like those, like the combined ones. So if we go like this, and then let's go ahead and do the high capacity high school across the street. That way we can grab our gymnasium in here, and then let's go ahead and do a community pool as well. You know what, let's actually do some community parks too. So maybe we will get rid of this. I mean, it kind of disrupts this a little bit, but I think it's going to actually be good because it's going to lead into this, which could actually be really nice for the area. So if we grab a 2-unit road now, let's go a smaller one too. We really don't want people kind of speeding through here. Let's go like this, and then we'll have it turn. We can utilize some of our newer community parks, which are really nice. I mean, especially for high schools, this would be really the star of the show for these. So if we grab that, let's go ahead and place it down here. And then I wonder if we can get this one too. Yeah, we can. Nice. So now we got 2 of them in there. Let's go ahead and do a path going across. Let's get like a couple plazas in here. So I think if we turn this into a park, then we could actually place a plaza in the middle. Okay, and so here we are. We've got a nice little dog park, couple community sports areas. We have a gymnasium. We have the basketball court. I added in a couple things of parking, and then I did a fence around the backside of the elementary. And I think this is a really nice addition for this area. I do actually like that it kind of eliminated those 2 paths. I think we're going to end up doing the same thing up here. So I'm probably going to basically use it as a template. It actually looks like that one's a little bit wider. I wonder if we should use this side. So we'll go ahead and use this side instead, just so that we can maybe get a little bit more parks and stuff in here. I think that could be good. Let's go ahead and move this. And then I'm tempted to even remove this and just get a little crazy. So if we have this go straight, go like right here, go ahead and turn it in, have this go like that, and then turn those into one-ways, we might be able to fit a few more of the community parks, which is really what I'm trying to go for here. But then if we grab our high-capacity elementary, let's go ahead and place that like right there, and then let's put our high-capacity high school right next to it. And we'll go like that. And then what we can do is grab a small road. Let's do tree-aligned and have this come back, and we're going to turn this into our little park area, and voila, it's not the greatest. I mean, maybe we'll turn those into pedestrian streets. I kind of wish that we could place those in parks rather than on roads, but I do understand why. Like, you definitely got to get parking in here for these people, and so having access is pretty important. So we will go ahead and do some paths, and then I want to get the gymnasium in it as well, and get the basketball courts, and then probably a couple parks too, just to kind of clean it up. So we'll probably do the gymnasium like right here, and then that way, I mean, we've pretty much got everything that the other one has. The other one I think is definitely a little bit better of a layout. I kind of wish that these, maybe if we put these back here, because then we would open up a little more space for a park in the middle. So yeah, maybe if we go like that, All right, so I think that that looks a little bit better. I do wish that these were paths, but I think the pedestrian roads are still kind of cool. And then that way we can actually place down some more park assets. And then that way it's definitely kind of segmented, but I think it still looks good. I think the pedestrian roads are interesting. I think having them kind of curve the way that they do kind of sucks. Like I wish that we could get it a little bit better. I wonder if we could probably move these around and get this straight. So if we moved that, and then let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then we can move this to where the football stadium is. And then we can move the football stadium right there. Yeah, there we go. That way they all have outside access too. I actually think that that may work a little bit better in the long run. But then we can line up those roads too and make them just look a little more uniform. And then that way we can connect this up. And then let's do our park back in here. We'll grab this. Perfect. That actually worked out really well. And then let's go ahead and connect up just a couple paths. And then I'm going to do some trees and stuff again to kind of clean it up, make it look a little bit better. This is a pretty nice park. I actually like having the pedestrian roads in the middle. I think it looks cool. But then we got the American football in there too, which is a really nice touch. So now we have two pretty large elementary complexes, pretty large schooling complexes, which are really nice. I'm going to go ahead and lay down some water pipes real quick. All right, so I got the water pipes down. And if you have the Snowfall DLC, utilizing the heated water pipes is definitely the way to go. Because you do have temperature changes, and whenever the temperature gets down to about 50 or 60 degrees Fahrenheit, then your city will start to draw a lot of electricity. Like in Crater Lake, it went up to about 700 megawatts more. And so the whole city started to have like rolling blackouts and stuff. And so just by doing the heated water pipes, you do end up saving quite a bit of electricity, even though it's only a little bit of time. Like it may seem like a waste, but it definitely is worth it. It's something that's often overlooked. So now that we have two large schooling areas that double as parks. Let's go ahead and place down some other park assets. We haven't really done a ton of parks in here, so let's get at least a couple. Let's place that right there. Let's come over here and do the same thing. We'll place one right there, and then let's go ahead and grab that same park since it's fitting in these grids pretty well. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We do need to do some death care too. Let's go ahead and do some cemetery access. I think maybe let's go ahead and do a row right there. Yeah, 3. That's actually perfect. And then let's do some crematoriums as well. I normally like to get the cemeteries in a little bit of a nicer space, but they fit really well in there. And so I think that that's actually a nice little spot. And so now what else do we need? Let's place down a crematorium over here as well. Let's go ahead and do one up here too. Downtowns tend to have some pretty big death waves. And so you definitely got to be careful. It's one of the main reasons that I play with the game on pause though, is if you zone out with the game on pause, then you won't end up doing an entire area like this where it all grows in at once and then they all die at once. And so it's definitely something to think about. Now we do have a couple other services we need to place. We need to do banks. So let's get a couple. I think we're going to do some of these larger banks since these are going to be downtown areas. So we'll go ahead and place a bank right there. And that actually covered quite a bit. Let's go ahead and place one up here. And then let's do the same thing over here. And we'll place one right there. And then let's come over here and do the same thing. Place one. So now we have some pretty decent coverage. We might even place one of the skyscraper ones down since instead of the 4. So it looks like if we did one skyscraper one in here, we may actually just be good. So that was probably a waste placing those smaller ones. And it looks like we actually didn't get any down here at all. Let's get at least one bank down here. Just because, I mean, it's more realistic to have those. And so you definitely want to kind of consider that. We are running a little low on money. The last thing I want to do is place down some postal service. So we do definitely want to get some post offices in here. I think that's most of the services. I want to say we got pretty much all of them. Public library. We completely didn't even think about that. So let's actually put the library kind of next to the school. We'll go like that. And then let's go ahead and place this over here as well. I'm going to let the game run and kind of beef up our money again because of this whole problem with this oil area. We're just not generating as much money as we used to. Okay, so I have finally fixed our cash problem, and sadly it involved me getting rid of the cargo airports. I played around with it a bunch. Maybe again, one of you guys know a better solution or why we're having this issue. I'm kind of thinking maybe it could have something to do with the direction of the runways. Maybe if I flipped this the other direction, it would have better pathfinding or something. But the second I got rid of them, now all of our buildings are getting deliveries. And so basically what was happening is we were getting a bottleneck through all of the air cargo traffic. And so all these buildings would eventually just be waiting for a delivery from an airplane, and that airplane wouldn't come. And so we were going bankrupt because of it. And now we're up towards, I mean, you can see 105,000 plus 100,000 weekly income, which is huge. I mean, we're gaining millions very quickly now. And so we can actually go back to our project. I did have to play with that for quite a while. I'm going to try to play around with it and see if we can come up with a better solution, because I would prefer to rely on that air cargo versus the train. But again, I don't know if there's any solution right now. So we can go ahead and drop that speed down. And so we're starting to get a couple little notifications for not in a pedestrian area for these. We do have pedestrianized roads. So I think what we're going to do is paint a few of these as pedestrian areas. So I think we're going to go ahead and paint this whole area, since we have that big pedestrianized road in the middle. And then we're going to go ahead and bring this all the way up and cover this entire area. It could also leave room for us to maybe upgrade some of the roads as pedestrian roads, maybe to limit traffic, or just to create a more walkable neighborhood, which is always something that we want to try to benefit. And that actually, makes me think maybe we'll go ahead and do this whole section. And as a byproduct of this, it also does have a huge bonus on land value, and so now all these buildings will be pretty happy. Now that we have that, what we need to do is go ahead and place down some services. So I want to do one of these cargo ones, and I also want to do one of these trash service points. So I think what we're going to end up doing, let's go ahead and put the cargo somewhere like right over here, and we want it to be off this side road so that cars can cross from either direction. Kind of see in these bigger roads they can't make that left turn. And so now we're going to do this small trash one as well, just to kind of cover it. I don't know if those are going to be entirely necessary, but we're going to go ahead and get that covered. And so now I want to start placing down some buildings. We have all of our services, we have schooling, we have parks, and so I want to go in here and start looking at some of our unique buildings. I want to see what buildings of the skyscraper pack we don't have. So we still have a few that haven't been placed. There's not a lot, but there's definitely some room for us to kind of place down some fun stuff. So I would like to kind of focus on this middle section right here as kind of being our downtown. So we're going to place this right here, and I think I'm going to place its little cousin across the street. I think that creates a nice fun look in there. I actually really like that. It's kind of like, one big campus, and we can even do something like we did with the other ones to kind of create a cool look. So then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to put this right there, and then I think we're going to put his little cousin across the street. We'll go like that. Let's kind of check that out. So we want to create a skyline that's going to look real and organic. So we're not going to do a bunch of these kind of pairs, as I don't think that they all look entirely realistic. So then we're going to go like this, and then let's go ahead and view. So I knew we had this one. This one's actually a really cool building. So let's go ahead and place this right there, and I think that already is looking pretty cool. So then let's come back here. We have another pair. I don't know if we're gonna place the pair, because I think having all these pairs is gonna look weird if we just keep going that direction. So then let's go ahead and place this one. I don't want to be off of that pedestrianized road. I would like to get some of our modern city center buildings off of that, and so let's go ahead and place that right there. Yeah, you know what? I think that already looks pretty cool. And so now if we go ahead and click out of this, we can scroll through a lot of other skyscrapers, that came with some of the other content creator packs. Like I believe this one came with the Modern Japan. So if we click that Modern Japan, yeah, it did. So the Modern Japan has a few smaller, more modest skyscrapers, but still equally nice to look at. And so let's come over here now. We have some space that we could, let's put this one like right here, because it has a really big yard. So does this one as well, and this one actually might be a little bit harder for us to find a home for. Maybe, let's place that right there and see what this kind of sight line looks like. You know what, I think that actually looks really cool. You come out of the tram stop or the metro, and you kind of see all these large buildings. I think that looks fantastic. I think we are going to shift this over, and so now let's jump into our district tool. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to utilize this middle section for modern city center assets, and then we're going to go ahead and paint these two districts as separate on either side, because I really want to get a nice mix in here. So we have a financial district on the other side. I think it would be very fitting for us to maybe turn one of these sections into a financial district, maybe even cut this in half and then turn this section right next to the downtown into a small little business district. Like maybe this is, Wall Street or something like that. And so we can come in here. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Let's turn on our district just so that we can kind of see what we're playing around with. So we turned on the financial office buildings for this one. I want to do self-sufficient housing for all three. I don't know if we're going to do residential in this section, but just in case. And then we need to go ahead and get into the district style. So we're going to go ahead and hit the Highland Hills, and then we are going to choose mid the modern city center. And what this is going to do is it's going to make all of our high density commercial buildings into the modern city center buildings, which are fantastic. So we're actually going to come through here, and I think we're going to go, because I really want to create a nice vibrant neighborhood, we're going to go like that. And then we will come in here and let's do, I'm thinking a couple plazas, you know, some points of interest. We don't want it to all be buildings, though. What I am going for is something more European in aesthetic. And so maybe we'll come through here and we could do a couple of these. I mean, this one will be cool. We already have those at the other one. And so I don't really want it to be like an exact replica. So if we look at the other downtown real quick, we can kind of see what we're already working with. So we already have like a big promenade like this. And so I wouldn't want to copy it. I mean, especially if it was real, if you're kind of visiting the city and you're like, oh, well, you know, the other one looks just like this. I wouldn't want to go for that. So let's come in here and try to make this unique in some way. So we have the ice cream, we have the large food truck plazas, we have statue plazas, which I do like. Maybe we'll go ahead and do a pair of these. And so again, I don't like doing pairs of these. I've talked about it in the past. But I think having that there, maybe the city commissioned, you know, one artist to do both of them, I think it's a really kind of fun idea. And it's a neat way to create some patterns in your city. And so now we have a couple plazas, and we're going to start sprouting up some of this modern city center, which is basically the original wall-to-wall assets. And you can kind of see why, like, these create those nice, vibrant kind of neighborhoods with almost those, you know, curbside, like cafes and patios and stuff. Not all of them. But they create some really fun assets. I definitely think it's a content creator pack that is worth getting. And so now we need to start doing some residential, because that's really our big problem here. Because we're zoning so quickly, our demand has collapsed. And so this is definitely something that we're just going to have to kind of play around with. Over here in our little business district, let's go ahead and get some of these small buildings. Let's go ahead and get one of these big ones. We're going to go like that. We're going to go like this. Let's go like that. And then let's go ahead and get these two sections, just because why not? We're going to get that. And then I think we're going to end up creating, I want to get a bridge over here. We really need to get freeway access. You can kind of see this is already turning into something that we really don't want it to. You see all these people trying to turn off. It's just not going to be great. And so I think what we're going to do right here looks like a great location for us to branch off a road, have it go over, and then create a nice little service interchange. And so what I can do to make this overall look a little bit better is actually resize this side. So I'm just going to come back and bring these back and then try to level it up with this left side. And it's entirely aesthetic. Like, would this be something that they would do in a real city? Probably not. I mean, in real cities, they're not looking for a top-down aesthetics. They're looking for real life aesthetics. So like they're just caring about what people see on the ground, which makes a lot of sense. You know, it's definitely a lot more realistic than what we're trying to do here. But because we are viewing it from top down, we are looking for that symmetry. And so we're going to go ahead and go like that. And then I'm going to take my 4-lane highway with sound barriers, and I'm going to use this to create a little slip lane in there. And what I'm hoping is that this is going to help with people getting off here. And so you can kind of see we're getting a little bit of a backup over here. What we can do is upgrade that to a 2-lane. And what that's going to do is just kind of help split up the traffic. So if anybody is turning the opposite direction, they don't have to worry as much. And then you can kind of see these people getting stuck, like we're already getting a little bit of a backup. So what you can do, let's go ahead and go into our junctions, and we want to make sure that we don't have any weird kind of lights in here. Even though real life lights would be real, they would be timed traffic lights. But because this game in the vanilla form doesn't have timed traffic lights, we're going to go ahead and turn them off. In mods, if you have Traffic Manager, then you are able to do timed traffic lights, which is much more realistic. And so we're gonna go like that. And what I'm hoping is that that's now going to help out. Even by having this, it should help out quite a bit. But you can kind of see we're just getting a little bit of a blockage here. And I'm tempted to even we're going to let this run for a little bit, and then we'll kind of see if this helps with the backup. And so let's go ahead and go back over here. We now have almost no demand, but I want to finish out the zoning so that we can let this kind of fill itself in. So we're going to come up over here. We're going to fill all this in as residential. And we're just getting crazy with this. And I want to probably place down, let's see if we can place a couple more unique buildings, because I would like to get, like I saw that we got the open air mall phase 2. So I think that this would be an awesome addition somewhere. Like if we could get it, just let us get it somewhere, fit it somewhere in there. And it looks like maybe even right there. Look, how would that be? So we could turn this section into like a mall area. That could actually be really interesting. I wasn't thinking about that, but I'm wondering now. So if we place that And then let's go into our districts and see how crazy this is. I mean, you guys can let me know if this is entirely off base. So we'll go ahead and go like this. And then let's go into our district styles now and hit shopping malls. I want to do just a small road in here so that we can, so it's going to be kind of decorative, but it's also going to help create a little bit of a separation for this quote unquote mall. So we're going to go like this, and then we're going to bring that in, and then we're going to come out again. And I want to make sure that is the same distance. Yeah, it is. We're going to come all the way across, then we're going to go down. And then what we're going to do is actually zone this in as our mall. Go like that, go like that. And then we're going to put a couple of plazas right there in the middle too, just to kind of spruce it up a little bit. We'll go like that. And we are going to have to put a little fence in here because I really wouldn't want like kids or anybody kind of straying into all these lines over here. I think that could be really unsafe. We're really just trying to eliminate people from wandering into the train lines, which could be really unsafe. I don't want that to happen. And so, but what's great is we're actually starting to get inner city trains in here, which is what I was trying to go for. I think that is fantastic. And so now we really should, I'm going to let this run for a little bit. And then my goal is to come back and do some detailing. And I want to get a couple more unique buildings. I'm really thinking we could get something else cool in here, like maybe even this little shopping plaza or something fun like that. We could even intertwine it with some other assets, maybe like the Mall of Moderation or the Posh Mall. Like we could probably get this in somewhere. I really feel like there's a lot of opportunities for us to get some cool stuff in here. Like, I mean, this could be cool. Man, I haven't placed this building in forever. I really think that one you got to do a full build for, though. I don't want to just squeeze it in somewhere. This opera house, I think that could be a nice addition. So if we were to place that right there, yeah, I think that could be something fun. We are getting a little bit of abandonment over here because of the worker issue. And so we just got to let it play out, because once these residents get in, then we're going to kind of balance out and it should be okay, even though like right now we're kind of losing a little bit of a population. Okay, and so after quite a while, this little area is looking pretty good. And don't worry, a lot of these areas are blank because I have designated these as green spaces. And so we're going to come back through and do walking paths and all that stuff and really make it into a nice area. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do to fill in a lot of these spaces. I do want it to look dense. I want to probably put in a couple other tall buildings, that we've really stretched our tall building kind of capacity. We don't have a whole lot more that we can place down. We still are getting abandonments from an overproduction of commercial, and it's kind of funny, our commercial demand's still at medium range, but we're getting abandonment because we don't have enough workers, or education level was too low. And so as this expands out, we will be able to fully implement the strategy in this area, which is to have all these commercial areas, really create a walking area. I did end up turning this tram only road into a pedestrian road. I wanted to, allow people to walk down, and it also allowed us to zone off this side, which I think looks really cool. And so now what I'm thinking, I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse. I'm going to fill in a lot of these little spaces. I'm going to put in trees, probably even put in a couple other buildings. And then I want to do 2 large kind of green space walking malls in here to create areas for people to kind of walk around and congregate. And you really want to create neighborhoods where people can kind of walk around and get to know each other. And that's the whole point of having walkable areas, is you can go to the store, you can go to the park, you can go to work, all within like a short area, and live, an abundant life, bumping into people, talking to people, rather than having this life of separation, which a lot of times is what suburbia turns into. Like, you may know your couple neighbors or maybe the neighbor across the street, but all in all, you don't tend to know everybody in your neighborhood as much as, whenever you're in downtown areas, you do tend to bump into more people. And so that's really the atmosphere we're going for here. Again, I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys on the other side. All right, so this is it. And I do apologize. I did kind of mess up with my time lapse. I, for some reason, messed up some of my recording for it. So I only recorded a little bit. I actually did a lot. So I expanded off this area first. I put in a bunch of the wall-to-wall residentials. I did another little community park down here with a soccer field, a couple little parks. I did a little basketball court. I just wanted to really expand out our residential. It's going to really help with a lot of the problems that we were having with the abandonment. And it kind of did. We still do have some issues, but it's definitely not at the scale that it was before. And given this is after letting the game run for quite a while, I ended up doing a path going all the way down. I did trees kind of up against the freeway here just to create a more natural scene. I did end up moving this building over, and I wanted to get the Gateway Arch in here just because I really love this asset. And if anybody's never been to St. Louis, this is actually a really cool monument in the United States. It's in the city of St. Louis, Missouri. And it's about 600 feet tall, and it's not sitting on a platform like this. It's actually in grass, but it has a huge underground museum too. And it's a really awesome site to visit. It's definitely worth seeing. Really cool. And so I'm glad that I got that at the end of the street. I felt like, if you're coming off the tram, that this was just going to create a really cool look, like looking down and seeing the Gateway Arch like that. And so backing out, you can kind of see we have a ton of people walking down here. And this is really what I was going for, guys. I wanted to get something that was alive, and you got all these little shops, and you're kind of walking around, you got these plazas, and I even ended up expanding it and did this road as well. And then, so it's this road, and then there's a couple other buildings in here. And instead of filling in a lot of these, I added in a few more unique buildings. So I added in this building, which is from the Content Career Pack. And then I went back here and did a couple more of the wall-to-walls. And I really wanted to create something that was going to be kind of cool. And you can see this one even butts up against this building a little bit. I was like, what can I do to fill in that space? And I think to provide a little bit more of like a live downtown. If I had Surface Painter, I would definitely fill in some of these concrete patches, maybe even put in some more parking to make it look a little more genuine, but I think it looks good. I did end up doing those two large walking malls. I just did paths going through with varying designs. And then I ended up doing raised bridges, pedestrian bridges going over our roundabouts just to make it a little bit safer. I did have to kind of augment to the design over here because of the metro. Let's go ahead and turn up the speed a little bit on this one. Speed's a little low. So this is our second park. And overall, I'm really pleased with this area. I did have to put in a makeshift trash area over here. I did a couple recycle centers. I did a waste transfer complex. And then I moved our pedestrian cargo areas. We were having a ton of traffic issues down here, and I found that most of it was related to having the cargo area right here. So after moving it back here, it really solved a lot of the problems. I also put in a huge service interchange back here just to help split it up. So now we have those 3 service interchanges, and this is really where, because this game is car dependent, it's going to help with the in-game mechanic of traffic. Now, going back to our initial goal of creating a transit-oriented development, so we have 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops, 4 stops, 5 stops, and then we have 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 metro stops in here, which is huge. I mean, that'd be a huge investment for the city. And that's on top of having a bus network and a tram network. So the tram goes all the way around this way, all the way around that way. I didn't end up doing any bus lines, but I felt like the tram was going to be good enough. And then just us having the inner city bus and then having the inner city tram. And so I think this whole area was a huge success. I really like it. We're getting a ton of people using this area. People are coming off the metro, off the train, coming across our little bridge, using all of our trams, walking down our pedestrian area. And so I think this was an awesome little build. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this episode, you will definitely enjoy the episode on your screen. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.